Okay, so picture this. You're standing right there, at the foot of the London Eye, that massive thing just soaring above you. And this young boy steps into one of the pods for a ride, gives a quick wave, and poof, he's gone. Just like that, vanishes during that half-hour spin high above London.
Yeah, sounds like something straight out of a magician's act, right? Just disappears.
Totally, and that's exactly the hook of The London Eye Mystery by Siobhan Dowd.
The book we're diving deep into today.
Yep, published back in 2007, and it just throws you right into this completely baffling mystery, the disappearance of a boy named Salim.
But here's the thing that makes this mystery so interesting. We see it all through the eyes of Salim's cousin Ted, who's 12 years old.
And Ted's brain, it works in a very specific way. He has Asperger syndrome, and he tells us right up front that he sees the world a bit differently.
And it's that unique perspective that becomes like this unexpected key to solving what happened to Salim.
Right, it's like having a different operating system in his head, almost like an advantage in this situation.
So that's what we're doing in this deep dive, trying to figure out how this impossible disappearance could have happened.
And also just what makes the book so good. How does Siobhan Dowd keep us on the edge of our seats?
Yeah, we're also going to be looking at how sometimes thinking differently can help you see solutions that others miss.
Exactly. And to really get into it, we need to introduce you to the main characters.
Yeah.
So first we have Ted, our narrator, who's incredibly observant and really good at spotting patterns. Then there's Kat, his older sister. She's a lot more action-oriented, jumps right in.
Yeah.
And of course we have Salim, the cousin, whose disappearance sets this whole thing off.
So to set the scene for you, Salim is in London visiting Ted and his family. He just traveled down from Manchester and is about to make a big move to New York with his mom, Aunt Gloria.
So as a kind of last hurrah, before he leaves London, Ted and Kat, they plan a trip to the London Eye for him.
Makes sense.
But here's where things get weird.
Yeah.
They're standing in line to get tickets, and this stranger walks up to them and offers them a free ticket.
A free ticket?
Yeah, the guy says he's terrified of enclosed spaces. Claustrophobic, can't handle being in those little pods.
Oh, wow.
So at first it seems like a stroke of luck, right? Like a random act of kindness.
Yeah, totally random. Who would suspect anything?
Exactly. But as the story goes on, you realize this little chance meeting is what sets the whole mystery in motion. Salim obviously is excited about his first, maybe only ride on the London Eye.
Sure.
So he takes the free ticket and jumps into a capsule, gives Ted and Kat a wave as the wheel starts to turn.
And he's off for these amazing views of the city.
Right now, fast forward about 30 minutes.
Okay.
The capsule comes back down to the ground, the doors open, people start filing out. But Salim's not there.
Oh, no.
It's like he just vanished into thin air during that short ride.
That's crazy.
I know the aftermath is pure chaos.
Yeah.
And Gloria's freaking out. Everyone's searching frantically. The police get called in. But here's the problem. There are zero clues. No one saw Salim leave the capsule.
It's a sealed compartment, right?
Exactly. There's no sign of a struggle. No logical explanation for how he could have just disappeared.
He couldn't have jumped out, could he?
Not a chance.
So bizarre.
And that's what makes this whole thing so perplexing.
So what happens next?
Well, the official investigation hits a wall. And that's when Ted and Kat decide to take matters into their own hands.
They become like junior detectives.
Exactly. They figure they have to become their own sleuthing partners. That's actually what the book calls them.
I love that.
Their first move is pretty logical. They develop the film from Salim's camera.
Makes sense. Maybe he accidentally captured something important.
Right. They're hoping to find some little detail that everyone else missed. They even go back to the London Eye, retrace their steps, trying to imagine any possible ways Salim could have gotten off that capsule.
I bet that was tough with everyone staring at them.
Oh, for sure. And when they finally get those pictures developed, they find their first real clue.
What is it?
In the background of one photo, they spot the stranger who gave them the free ticket.
The claustrophobic guy.
Yep, but you can only see part of the writing on his T-shirt. Says, Unti Li Eker.
Unti Li Eker. That's not ringing any bells.
Not exactly a common phrase, right?
Not.
But this is where Ted's brain really shines through. He's amazing at patterns and connections.
Oh, yeah.
He starts playing around with those letters and realizes they can be rearranged to spell frontline security.
Frontline security. Wait, I think I remember that.
And he remembers that there's a motorbike exhibition happening nearby with that exact name.
That's incredible how he put that together.
I know. It's like his specific interests and his way of thinking become these super valuable tools for solving the mystery.
It makes you think about how sometimes someone's passion for something seemingly unrelated can help them solve a totally different problem.
It's all about those mental connections, right?
Exactly.
So Kat, being the more impulsive one, she decides to head straight to the exhibition to find this stranger.
She doesn't waste any time.
Nope. And Ted being Ted, he figures out where she's gone and follows her.
Of course he does.
This part really shows how their different personalities work together. Kat's all about action, and Ted's the brains of the operation.
It's a good balance.
And their combined efforts lead them straight to the stranger, a guy named Christie.
So they found him, but did that solve the mystery?
Not quite. It's through Ted's continued observations of Christie, and again, his unique way of analyzing things, that he starts to suspect something else is going on.
What's that?
He realizes Salim couldn't have just vanished on his own. Someone else had to be involved somehow.
Ah, interesting.
And the truth, when it comes out, is actually pretty simple, yet clever. It turns out Salim had this whole disappearance planned with his friend Marcus.
Wait, they planned this?
Yep, they bought 2 tickets for the same capsule. But then Marcus's brother pretended to be afraid of heights and offered his ticket to Salim.
Oh, so that's how they ended up together.
Exactly. It made it look like they were total strangers in line.
Pretty sneaky.
Right, so both Salim and Marcus get on the same capsule.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the kicker. Marcus was disguised as a teenage girl. Yep, so they could hang out in the capsule without anyone getting suspicious.
Wow, they really thought this through.
They did, and the moment that clinches it for Ted is during the souvenir photo. The one they take of everyone in the capsule?
Oh, yeah.
Well, everyone's lining up. Salim and Marcus quickly swap some clothes.
So that's why no one saw Salim leave.
Exactly. He basically transformed into the girl who walked off the capsule.
Genius.
And it's a tiny detail in that souvenir photo that cracks the case wide open.
What was it?
Ted notices that the sleeve of the coat the girl is wearing doesn't quite match the rest of the outfit.
That's amazing.
It's his crazy attention to detail that exposes the whole swap.
So they pulled it off, but why go through all that trouble?
Well, Salim's motive was pretty straightforward. He really didn't want to move to New York.
Makes sense. I mean, who wants to leave their friends and everything they know?
Right, and thinking back, Ted remembers Salim being really interested in this old abandoned barracks building near their house.
And he puts 2 and 2 together.
Yep, he figures that's where Salim must be hiding.
So did they find him?
They did. But it turns out the old barracks wasn't just abandoned. It was scheduled for demolition the next day.
Oh, no. Talk about a close call.
I know, they found him just in time.
Phew, what a relief.
Right in the end, Salim realizes how much worry he caused, and he apologizes. Agrees to try living in New York for at least 6 months.
So the mystery is solved, but like we said earlier, there's a lot more to this book than just the disappearance.
Definitely one of the biggest things is how it explores neurodiversity.
Right.
The idea of thinking differently.
Right. Throughout the whole story, Ted's Asperger's isn't portrayed as a weakness, but as a strength. His way of seeing the world is what solves the mystery.
Exactly. It makes you think about all the different ways people think and how we can learn from each other.
It's like a reminder that there's so much potential in those different perspectives.
Totally. And then there's the theme of family relationships. The bond between Ted and Kat is so strong.
Yeah, they might argue, but they always have each other's backs.
Exactly. And Salim's situation shows just how complicated family dynamics can be, especially when kids are dealing with big life changes.
And let's not forget about self-belief and trusting your instincts. Even when no one believed him, Ted never doubted his own logic.
That's so important, especially for young people, to see, you have to trust your gut sometimes, even if it goes against what everyone else is saying.
What about you? What resonated with you most about that theme?
For me, it's that reminder to trust your own internal compass. We often look for validation from others, but Ted shows us that real insight can come from within.
That's a good point. And of course, running through the whole book is this idea of mystery and problem solving. The story lays out this step-by-step process of observation and deduction.
You really feel like you're part of the investigation alongside Ted and Kat.
Totally. Now, stepping back from the story itself, I think it's worth taking a moment to appreciate Siobhan Dowd, the author.
Oh, absolutely.
She was an amazing person before she started writing for young adults. She worked with International PEN, a global organization that fights for freedom of expression and human rights.
Wow, that's really interesting. Knowing her background definitely adds another layer to her writing.
It does, and it's interesting that she began writing for children later in her career, but still had such a huge impact.
She really did. Some of her other famous books include Bogchild and A Swift Pure Cry, which also deal with some pretty complex themes.
Yeah, unfortunately, she passed away in 2007, the same year that the London Eye mystery came out.
Oh, wow.
But her book, Bogchild, actually won the Carnegie Medal after she died, which shows just how talented she was.
That's incredible. And they even created the Siobhan Dowd Trust to encourage reading among young people.
That's amazing. Learning about her life really makes you appreciate her work even more.
It does, and on that note, the London Eye Mystery actually won the Bisto Book of the Year award too, so it's definitely a must-read.
Absolutely. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive and you're looking for similar stories, we have a bunch of recommendations.
We do. If you're into mysteries with young detectives who crack the impossible, you might love The House of the Clock in Its Walls by John Bellairs or A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. That one's full of twists and turns.
And if you want a mystery set in a really cool and unique location, you should check out Malamander by Thomas Taylor.
And of course, there's the classic The Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, which blends mystery with magic and adventure.
And for a slightly darker but still humorous mystery series, there's a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. The first one is A Bad Beginning.
Oh, and for a true classic of the genre, you can't go wrong with Evil Owl and the Detectives by Eric Kessner.
Now for some more modern picks, there's The Unexplainable Disappearance of Mars Patel, which follows a group of young detectives, and Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library by Chris Gravenstein, which is all about puzzles and adventure.
If you're into classic whodunits with a fun twist, check out Murder is Bad Manners by Robin Stevens. It's the first in the Murder Most Unladylike series, and it features two awesome girl detectives.
And for a mystery set in a very relatable setting, there's High Rise Mystery by Sharna Jackson. It takes place in a London tower block.
And if you liked how Ted's neurodiversity helped him solve the mystery, you might enjoy A Kind of Spark by Elle McNichol. It also has a neurodivergent protagonist.
And for a slightly more mature read that explores similar themes of seeing the world differently, there's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon.
And lastly, for a story about difference and understanding, you should check out Wonder by R.J. Palacio.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on the London Eye Mystery, let's take a moment to remember what we talked about.
We went through the whole impossible disappearance of Salim from the London Eye and how his cousin Ted used his unique way of thinking to solve it.
We saw that Ted's neurodiversity wasn't a disadvantage, but a huge asset in finding the truth.
And we talked about the importance of family sticking together the challenges we face in life and believing in yourself even when others doubt you.
And of course, we explored that exciting world of mystery and problem solving.
It's amazing how a well-written mystery can pull you in and make you feel like a detective.
Absolutely. Now, here's a final thought for you to ponder. How often are you missing crucial details in your own life simply because you're looking at things from your usual perspective?
That's a good point.
What amazing mysteries, big or small, could you solve if you just shifted your viewpoint a little and looked at things from a different angle?
It's all about opening up to new possibilities.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll discover something incredible.
You never know.
So keep those eyes open and those minds curious.
Until next time,
Happy reading, everyone.
bye for now.
See you later.